On this video, we're going to explore what ADHD is and its connection with autism. Let's go. Hey, and welcome back. And for those new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to check out my videos. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. And since my diagnosis later in life, I've devoted my time to advocating for the autistic community. I do that through my podcasts and these YouTube videos. And I do it with a goal in mind of raising the level of understanding, acceptance and appreciation of the autistic community. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you should consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. By subscribing, watching the videos, rating them, commenting and sharing them, you help me reach more people. And as I said, hopefully raise the level of understanding, acceptance and appreciation of autistic people right across the planet. And the one-stop shop to check out all my content, more about me and send me a message, is my website, orionkelly.com.au. Okay, so what is ADHD and how is it connected to autism? Before we unpack the connection, let's break down ADHD. So, what is ADHD? I think we should go to our old friend, the DSM-5. Ah yes, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, says attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, is one of the most common mental disorders affecting children and also affects many adults. Symptoms of ADHD include inattention, so not being able to keep focus, hyperactivity, which is excess movement that is not fitting to the setting, and impulsivity, which basically could be hasty acts that occur in the moment without thought. ADHD is diagnosed as one of 3 types. The first type, inattentive. The second is the hyperactivity impulsive type. And the third is the combined. In other words, the inattentive and hyperactivity impulsive type. Okay, now there's no lab test to diagnose ADHD. Diagnosis involves gathering information from parents, teachers, partners, others. They fill out checklists, having a medical evaluation to rule out other medical problems, and also factoring in that the symptoms are not the result of a person being defiant or hostile or unable to understand a task or instructions. Okay, there's 3 diagnosable types of ADHD according to the DSM-5. We'll go through type number 1, the inattentive type. How's it diagnosed? Let's find out. The inattentive type of ADHD is diagnosed by identifying 6 or 5 for people over 17 years of age of the following symptoms that occur frequently. Okay, here they are. Doesn't pay close attention to details or makes careless mistakes in school or job tasks. Has problems staying focused on tasks or activities such as during lectures, conversations, or long reading. Stop there for a second. Okay, the first one I can't relate to at all. Don't pay close attention to things, details, careless mistakes. I mean, I'm a stickler. I'm always getting from people, oh, what, you're perfect, you never make mistakes. Is that right? I'm thinking to myself, well, actually, I don't mostly in those situations. I'm not perfect, but anyway, so I don't relate to that one at all. The second one, I can relate to. So it's having problems staying focused on tasks or activities. I'm very good at staying focused on tasks that are my passion, my special interest. In fact, I can forget about the world. But then it did talk about conversations, lectures, reading, absolutely. If I'm having conversations with people, I can get very bored or disinterested very quickly. Same with lectures or readings. It's not like I don't want to do it. It's just that I'm shutting off. I'm really struggling to stay focused. So that's really interesting for me. That one there, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. And I think that's where we're starting to see the differences. So let's move on, more symptoms. The next symptom is does not seem to listen when spoken to. For those with an autistic kid or an autistic partner, in my experience in this family, we've got a couple of people, me and my son. A lot of times you can say the name of the autistic person in your life over and over, and it's like they're purposely ignoring you. They have to have heard it, but they're purposely ignoring you, or you have to walk up to their face and break them from some sort of dreamlike slumber, wide awake, of course. So yeah, this is a relatable one for an autistic person. Another symptom to look out for is does not follow through on instructions and doesn't complete schoolwork, chores, or job duties. So may start tasks but quickly loses focus. For autistic people, again, it's conflicted between ADHD and autism. This won't happen if it's a passion or a special interest. But anything else in life, like they say, jobs, chores, tasks, absolutely. You start things and you never finish them. And that something you even think you do want to do, you don't actually want to do, you'll start it, but you'll never finish it. I can relate to that trait. But again, there are stipulations. For ADHD, presumably it's everything. For autism, as an autistic person, it's not. There are certain things that would never happen. So yeah, I can already start to see differences here. More symptoms. Here's one: has problems organizing tasks and work. So does not manage time well, messy, disorganized workspaces, misses deadlines. This is executive function stuff, right? I mean, for an autistic person, executive function can be a real challenge. Organization and time management can be a real challenge. Messy workplaces, not so much for me. A messy workplace, no. Everything has to be in the right place for me. So I'm just sharing my experiences to kind of, I guess, highlight the similarities and the differences between an autistic person and someone who's diagnosed with ADHD. The next symptom: avoids or dislikes tasks that require sustained mental effort, such as preparing reports and completing forms. I hate forms. I hate them. I hate the forms. Filling out forms, I hate it. Great, now you've filled out that form. You've qualified to fill out this form. There's forms for everything. As an autistic person, this might be quite general. Maybe it's not specific, but I hate those types of tasks. I can absolutely relate to that. What I can't relate to is sustaining this kind of mental effort, this mental focus. When it comes to special interests and passions, I can do that. I can, in fact, reach a level of productivity over a period of time that might not be matched by neurotypical people. Another symptom: often loses things needed for tasks or daily life, such as school papers, books, keys, wallet, cell phone, eyeglasses. No, I'm a stickler. My stuff is my stuff. It's very important to me. I know where it is. It's in a very special place, a specific place. It never changes. I don't put things away in different places or just leave them there for the morning. They go in the same place every day. I know where they are. If they're not there, someone's taken them and they're going to pay. And the final symptom to look out for is easily distracted. Forgets daily tasks like doing chores and running errands, and older teens and adults may forget to return phone calls or pay bills or keep appointments. Yes, I'm easily distracted. What was I talking about? I agree. I relate to that. I always forget to do things I'm told to do. Phone calls, or go and get that today, or go to the shops, or go to the, forget them all the time. Probably because it's not a passion or a special interest, or it's a priority. So even though I say, I can do that, I forget. There you have it. That's inattentive type. Now let's move to the second of the three diagnosable types, keeping in mind the third is just a combination of the first two. The second type being the hyperactive impulsive type. So just like the inattentive type, hyperactive impulsive type is diagnosed by identifying 6 or 5 for people over 17 years of age of the following symptoms that occur frequently. They include fidgets with or taps hands or feet, or squirms in seat. Now seriously, these are two different conditions, but you tell me an autistic person you've met that doesn't do any of those things, right? Seriously. The question is, how is it connected and what's the difference? We'll get to that soon. Another symptom is not being able to stay seated in like the classroom or your workplace. Again, this is just completely relatable to me. Runs about or climbs where it is inappropriate. Wow. Unable to play or do leisure activities quietly. Always on the go, as if driven by a motor. Talks too much. All right, seriously, just to stop for a second. Now we're going through symptoms here of a type of ADHD. And if you have an autistic child in your life, or you're an autistic person, or you have a partner who's autistic, you're going, hang on a second, every single one of these things relates to the autistic person in my life. Just like the OCD video. We think, okay, this sounds like the same thing, but what's the motivations for either? And they can be quite different, so we're going to get there. Another symptom to look out for is blurts out an answer before a question has been finished. Oh, that's me. For instance, may finish people's sentences and can't wait to speak in conversations. Now, I'm an autistic person. When my wife's talking to me, I will start answering a question or telling her what I think she needs to know before she's finished telling me what she's trying to tell me. Because my brain, I don't know, it's like an algorithm. It works out what I think she's trying to say and what I think she needs to hear. And I just blurt it out. And sometimes I can't wait for other people to shut up for my turn because my brain's going too fast. If I don't go now, I will forget where I was and it'll go past it. And anyway, this is me. The last couple of symptoms has difficulty waiting his or her turn. So we're talking about things like, waiting in line. And here's the final one. Interrupts or intrudes on others. So cuts into conversations or games or activities, starts using other people's things without permission. Older teens and adults may take over what others are doing. If you know an autistic person, if there's an autistic person in your life, I'm autistic, I've got an autistic son, we often refer to him as a director. We're just actors in a movie. It's not our life, it's his movie, and we're just actors. You do what the director says or you get fired. There you go, my friends. They are the two main types of diagnosable ADHD, according to the DSM-5. Of course, the third type is a combination of the two, so we don't need to go through those, obviously. Now we're going to talk about ADHD and autism, the connection, the differences. Let's deep dive. I love that phrase. It's so corporate. Let's deep dive. And when I mean deep dive, I mean in a way where the pressure and sheer energy of where the depth we're going will make your eyes explode through your head. You won't live. The pressure alone, you'll be dead after this. It's that deep. Take that, corporate speak. Hope that's fit for purpose for your little sense of humor. First up, it seems from most of the literature, most of the studies, ADHD is probably the most common coexisting condition or comorbidity of autistic people. It's also been found that the co-occurrence of the two, ADHD and autism, can lead to confusion and, I guess, misdiagnosis, focusing on one or the other and not understanding the differences and the fact they can coexist. That can create and has created some misdiagnosis problems, which is a really interesting note to put aside and park for the moment, but especially gender related. The bottom line is early diagnosis can be complicated. The water's muddied because of ADHD and autism both being on the radar. It can affect someone's diagnosis of one or both through an early diagnosis, which is always the best. And further to that, it's been said that the symptoms of ADHD can actually distract parents, carers, schools, teachers, family members, friends, partners, clinicians even, from considering or identifying an autism diagnosis. And I guess this is because they could tend to attribute those concerns to ADHD rather than an autistic diagnosis. Now, this I find really interesting. There has been some studies that suggest that when both conditions occur together, the presence of each condition therefore amplifies the symptoms of the other condition. Even more interesting is, and in doing so, leading to an amplification of symptoms in the other condition, that can also lead to a diagnosis of additional conditions. Studies have also shown that autistic people with co-occurring ADHD can have more difficulties in reading other people's emotions, feelings, and in holding, recalling, and manipulating critical periods of information. And there's research that found that autistic people with co-occurring ADHD may be at an increased risk of developing other psychological conditions such as anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, disruptive behavior, and tic disorders. And I think what's fascinating about it is many of the symptoms seem similar to each condition. Yet, and this is a big yet, ADHD and autism are separate, distinct, diagnosed conditions. It's confusing, I get it. Connected, yet not connected. Okay, well, let's go through some examples. Autistic people tend to struggle to focus on things that they don't like. They're not our passions, not our special interests. We aren't interested in them, so we struggle to focus on them. And this is because we tend to just focus all our energies on our special interests and our passions. In other words, we can struggle to focus on things we're not interested in, but we have no issues focusing and concentrating on things we are interested in. Whereas people with ADHD can often dislike or avoid things that they'll have to concentrate on. Interest or no interest isn't a factor. It's just the idea that, is that something that will require focus and concentration? Okay, I should avoid that. I don't like that. Another example, another comparison, autistic people tend to struggle with social awareness and interactions with others. It's just part of autistic traits, really, isn't it, that? Social, emotional communication, interaction, These things are just clear struggles for autistic people. On the other hand, a person with ADHD doesn't often seem to experience these challenges and can often come across as a person that never stops talking. People with ADHD also tend to interrupt others or butt in and really try to control the conversation regardless of the topic. And I know what you're thinking, hang on a second, I know autistic people, they never shut up. And I think the difference is, like we've just talked about, people with ADHD may never shut up and may want to butt in, control, own conversations regardless of what people are talking about. Where I would say for autistic people, this usually would only occur, this kind of controlling conversations, would only occur during a discussion on an interest or a passion, a special interest, something near and dear to an autistic person. It's not like I can just rock up and talk everyone's ear off, regardless of the person or the conversation. That's unthinkable for me. How about this example? Okay, so an autistic person, as you know through my videos, autistic people like myself, we rely on order. We rely on routine, sameness, rigidity. We like to have plans and routines in every aspect of our life. We become rigidly attached to these routines as autistic people. We can find it very hard to deal with changes to our routines. On the flip side, a person with ADHD actually can struggle to do the same thing over and over, or to do the same thing for long periods of time. In other words, an autistic person may thrive on doing the same thing over and over, or doing the one thing for a long period of time, whereas a person with ADHD struggles with that. Put differently, a person with ADHD has a general difficulty in focusing. Autistic people, on the other hand, we can get stuck for hours doing something, a special interest, a passion. In other words, an intense focus. So you can see there, ADHD, a general difficulty in focusing. Autistic people, the ability to have an intense focus. I hope this video has been helpful to you, provided some insights, resonated with you. If it has, please share it with your family and friends so we can reach more people and raise that level of understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of the autistic community. Thank you so much for watching. Until my next video, thanks for your support, and we'll talk soon.